The Haunting of Hawthorn Hall by Liam Lucian. Did you know you can buy a physical copy of this book if you want to read along at home or you'd just like to support my work and my channel? You can find it by following the link in the description. Okay, now let's get into the story. Chapter 1. New Beginnings and Old Legends. The town of Willowville was everything Lucy had imagined it to be. Quaint houses, picturesque streets, and that typical small town charm. But as her family's car wound its way up the hill, the towering structure of Hawthorn Hall caught her eye. Its towering spires and Gothic architecture looked eerily magnificent against the backdrop of the setting sun. "Is that where we're moving, Mum?" Lucy asked, her nose pressed against the car window. Her mother chuckled. "Oh, no, sweetheart, that's Hawthorn Hall. It's been abandoned for years. We're just a little further down." Lucy's younger brother, Jamie, looked up from his comic book. "Why doesn't anyone live there?" Mr. Thompson, their father, adjusted the rearview mirror. "Well, bud, rumour has it, it's haunted." Lucy felt a shiver run down her spine. "Haunted?" Mrs. Thompson rolled her eyes playfully. "Oh, it's just town legends. Every place has them. But it's a beautiful building. Shame no one's done anything with it." By nightfall, the Thompsons had settled into their new home. Lucy lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the hall's silhouette visible from her window. The haunting image of the building and the legends associated with it danced in her thoughts. The next day at school, Lucy met Eli. They clicked immediately, with Eli showing her around and introducing her to some of the students. As they sat down for lunch, Lucy couldn't help but bring up Hawthorn Hall. "You live near that hall, right?" Lucy inquired, taking a bite of her sandwich. Eli nodded, pushing his glasses up. "Yeah, been there all my life. You get used to the legends when you hear them every day." Lucy leaned in curious. "What legends?" A group of kids gathered round, eager to share the tales they'd grown up with. One of them, a girl with braided hair, began. "They say Lord Hawthorn hid a vast treasure in there, but no one who's gone looking for it has come out the same." Eli continued. "And then there's the shadow. People have seen it, especially on foggy nights. A dark figure roaming the halls and the surrounding woods." Lucy felt her heart race. She loved mysteries, and this was like something right out of her books. "Has anyone ever tried to, solve it?" Eli smirked. "Many have tried. None have succeeded. But hey, maybe you'll be the first." Lucy smiled, a twinkle in her eye. "Maybe we could be the first. Together?" Eli laughed. "You're brave. But who knows? Maybe there's an adventure waiting for us." As the school bell rang, signalling the end of their lunch break, Lucy felt a flutter of excitement. Little did she know that her new beginning in Willowville was about to become a thrilling adventure she'd never forget. Okay, we're going to stop the story for a second here and look at some character stats. First up, Lucy. Age, 12. Height, average for her age, about 5'2". Build, slightly slender but with noticeable energy about her, showcasing a zest for life and a curious nature. Hair, long, straight raven black hair that cascades down her back. She often ties it into a loose ponytail or braids it when she's deep into her reading or exploring. Eyes, deep brown, reflecting her insatiable curiosity about the world around her. They light up whenever she comes across something mysterious or unexplained. Skin, fair complexion with a rosy undertone, especially on her cheeks. Delicate looking, but not frail. Lucy's typical outfits are comfortable clothing, allowing freedom of movement while still retaining a touch of personal style. This usually includes soft leggings or jeans paired with a t-shirt or hoodie paired with ankle-high boots or trainers, which are both stylish and practical for her adventures. General aura? Lucy exudes an aura of bright-eyed wonderment. She's perpetually eager and always looks like she's on the cusp of asking a question or diving into a new book. She's a puzzle solver, always ready to unearth a treasure. Even in a crowd, Lucy's distinct energy of enthusiasm and discovery makes her stand out. And now, Eli. Age, 13. Height, slightly tall for his age, standing at 5'6". Build, lean and athletic, indicative of a kid who's used to outdoor activities and adventures. Hair, thick, wavy brown hair, which usually looks like he just rolled out of bed. Eyes, bright hazel, which seem to sparkle with mischief and intelligence. Skin, light tan from spending ample time outdoors, with a sprinkle of freckles across the bridge of his nose and cheeks. His typical outfits are normally jeans, comfortable for his many outgoings and explorations. Paired with it, he sports a plain or graphic t-shirt, depending on his mood. Over this, he often wears a light jacket with numerous pockets, each one holding some tool or trinket he might need. His sneakers are scuffed and worn, evidence of the many trails they've traversed. General aura. Eli's presence is one of curiosity and confidence. He moves with a sense of purpose, and while he may seem lost in thought at times, his surroundings never escape his notice. Chapter 2. Whispers and Shadows. The first week in Willowville went by in a blur for Lucy. New classes, teachers and routines kept her on her toes. But every day after school, she'd find herself walking back home with Eli. They'd share notes, talk about their day, and more often than not, veer into discussions about Hawthorn Hall and its mysteries. One evening, as autumn's chilly grip started to take hold, Lucy and Eli sat in her backyard, her house offering a direct view of the looming hall atop its hill. They spread out on a blanket, warm mugs of cocoa in hand, books and notes scattered around. "I've been thinking," Lucy began, tracing a finger along the rim of her mug, "about the hall. Don't you think it's odd that such a massive treasure has never been found? I mean, people must have looked." Eli sipped his cocoa, nodding slowly. "They have. Over the years, so many have tried, but they all come back changed. Some say they saw the shadow. Others just come back terrified and never speak of what they witnessed." Lucy shivered, but her eyes were determined. "Then maybe we need a fresh approach. 2 heads are better than 1, right?" Before Eli could answer, a gust of wind rustled the trees and a haunting melody drifted through the air. It sounded like someone was playing an ancient tune on a distant violin. Eli's eyes widened. That's from the Whispering Woods. It's said that sometimes you can hear strange sounds from there." Lucy stood up, her curiosity piqued. "Do you think it's related to the hall's mystery?" Eli shrugged. "Could be, but no one really knows. Most folks just avoid the woods, especially after sunset." Lucy's adventurous spirit was hard to quell. "What if we explored the woods tomorrow? It's a Saturday and we have the whole day." Eli hesitated. "It's not considered safe, Lucy, especially for 2 kids." She nudged him playfully. "Come on, we won't go deep, just to see if there's anything unusual." After a moment, Eli sighed, adjusting his glasses. "Alright, but we need to be prepared, and if things feel off, we head straight back. Deal?" Lucy grinned, her excitement palpable. "Deal." Later that night, Lucy lay in her bed, staring out the window at the silhouette of Hawthorn Hall. The haunting melodies from earlier still played in her head. Little did she know, the next day would change her perception of the town and the hall forever. Lucy's alarm rang out earlier than usual the next morning. The sky outside was a soft pastel, the sun still lazily making its ascent. She quickly dressed in comfortable attire, packed a backpack with snacks, a flashlight, a notebook, and a pen, and then met Eli outside. He stood there, holding a sturdy-looking stick he dubbed as their adventure staff. The morning was crisp and cool, leaves crushed underfoot as they made their way to the entrance of the Whispering Woods. The thick canopy overhead filtered the morning light, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. "You sure about this?" Eli asked, glancing at Lucy. She nodded, determination in her eyes. "Absolutely. We stick together, all right?" Eli smiled weakly. "Always." The deeper they ventured, the denser the woods became. Every now and then they'd hear a distant melody similar to one from the previous evening, guiding them further. Lucy jotted down observations, noting unique trees or markings. After what seemed like hours, they stumbled upon a clearing. In its centre stood a massive, ancient-looking tree. Its trunk was broad, and its roots sprawled out like gnarled fingers. Carvings of symbols adorned its bark. Lucy approached it, her fingers tracing the symbols. They looked ancient. Maybe a form of old runes? Eli squinted, adjusting his glasses. "I think I've seen these in one of the town's history books. They're protective symbols. But why here? And on this tree?" Lucy looked up, noticing a hollowing in the trunk. She carefully reached in and pulled out an old, worn-out leather pouch. Opening it, they found a silver key with intricate designs and a tiny note. The note read, "To those who seek the truth, the key is but the first step. Beware the shadow, for it guards more than just secrets." Eli and Lucy exchanged wide-eyed glances. "This must be related to the hall," Lucy whispered. As if on cue, a dense fog rolled in, chilling them to the bone. Shadows danced around and a soft, eerie whisper echoed, "Leave. Seekers bring doom." Eli clutched the adventure staff, his voice shaky. I think it's time to head back." Lucy, clutching the pouch, nodded in agreement. The mystery of Hawthorn Hall had just deepened, and they had a key, possibly to its very heart. Navigating their way out of the woods proved difficult with the thickening fog, but the haunting melody which once drew them deeper now guided them out. It was as if the woods was playing a dual role, a guardian of its secrets, but also a protector of those who dared to tread its paths. Emerging from the woods, they promised each other to research the symbols and the key. But for now, they needed to rest, recover, and prepare for the challenges that awaited them. The hall's mysteries were starting to unravel, and they were right at the heart of it. Chapter 3. The Key to the Past. With the sun high in the sky, Lucy and Eli sat on her porch, the worn-out pouch and its contents laid out before them. The whispers of the woods still echoed in their ears, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in their quest. Eli ran his fingers over the silver key, marvelling at its intricate design. This doesn't just look old, it feels like it holds centuries of stories. Lucy was busy flipping through a local history book about Willowville she had found in the town library. "Look!" She pointed at a sketch of a similar key. Beneath it, a caption read, "The Hawthorn Key, rumoured to be created by Lord Hawthorn himself. Its whereabouts remain unknown." The same key! This can't be a coincidence. It has to be connected to the hall, Lucy exclaimed. Eli, leaning closer, noticed another symbol next to the sketch. "That looks familiar." He compared it to the tree carvings they had seen earlier. It's the same protective symbol from the tree. The pieces of the puzzle were slowly coming together. "We need to find out more about these symbols and how they're connected to the hall," Lucy mused. The duo decided to visit the local museum the next day. It was an old building filled with artifacts and documents from Willowville's history. Mrs. Wren, the museum's curator, was a frail-looking elderly woman with a sharp mind and keen eyes. Upon seeing the key, her face paled. "Where did you find this?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Lucy hesitated, but eventually recounted their adventure in the Whispering Woods. Mrs. Wren listened intently, occasionally nodding. Finally she spoke. Lord Hawthorn was not just a noble. He was a protector. He hid something of great value in the hall, something many desired but could bring ruin if fallen into the wrong hands. This key, she pointed at the silver artifact, is said to unlock the chamber where it's kept. But what is this something, and why all the protection? Eli inquired. Mrs. Wren sighed, her eyes distant. It's not clearly stated, but many believe it's an ancient artifact with immense power. The shadows you speak of might be its guardians, protecting it from unworthy hands. Lucy and Eli exchanged glances. They were in deeper than they had initially thought. Mrs. Wren handed them a map. This is said to lead to the chamber, but remember, knowledge is a double-edged sword. You must be careful. With a new clue in hand and a warning echoing in their minds, the two friends left the museum, the weight of responsibility heavy on their shoulders. The heart of the mystery was within reach, but so were the dangers guarding it. Back at Lucy's house, they spread the map on their kitchen table. It was old and slightly tattered at the edges, with peculiar symbols and a clear route winding through the various rooms of Hawthorn Hall. This isn't just a map of the hall, Eli mused, his finger tracing a pathway. It's a puzzle. Lucy looked closer, realizing that several rooms had specific symbols next to them, the same protective runes they'd seen on the tree. Each room must have a clue or a task to guide us to the chamber, she whispered. As the evening set in, Lucy remembered a tale her grandmother used to tell her about Hawthorn Hall. Retrieving a dusty old journal from her attic, she found her grandmother's handwritten notes about the hall's legends. Reading aloud, Lucy recounted a story of betrayal and redemption. Lord Hawthorn had a trusted aide, Alaric, who sought the artifact for its power. When Lord Hawthorn realised Alaric's intentions, he hid the artifact and created the shadows as guardians. Eli looked up from the map, connecting the dots. So the shadows are not inherently evil, just protectors. Yes, Lucy continued, but they're bound to guard the artifact from everyone, regardless of intent. A peculiar line in the journal caught Lucy's attention. Only by illuminating the true path with knowledge and heart can one access the artifact. Eli pondered this. Illuminating with knowledge and heart. Maybe it means understanding the history and genuinely wanting to protect the artifact. Lucy nodded. We need to truly learn about each room in the hall, the stories behind them, the challenges they pose. Only then can we safely retrieve and protect the artifact. Determined, they decided to start their journey into the hall the next day. Lucy's kitchen turned into an impromptu research centre with books, maps and journals scattered everywhere. Late into the night, they prepared a list of items they'd need. Torches, chalk to mark the route, a compact camera to document their findings, and some snacks to keep their energy up. Before departing for the night, Eli looked at Lucy, a seriousness in his gaze. This isn't just an adventure anymore, Luce. We have a responsibility. Lucy gripped the silver key, determination burning in her eyes. We'll see it through, Eli. Together. As the moonlight shone down on Willowville, the town slept in blissful unawareness. while two young souls stood on the precipice of uncovering its most profound secrets. Okay, time for some more character stats. Lord Hawthorn. Age. Lord Hawthorn appears to be in his late 50s, but there's an ageless quality to him hinting at the weight of many untold years. Height. He stands at 6'2", emanating a regal presence that commands respect and attention. Build. Strong and athletic, his posture straight, a testament to years of rigorous training and noble upbringing. Eyes. Deep set, dark eyes that seem to hold the wisdom of ages. They sparkle with curiosity, yet there's a hint of sadness, perhaps from the many secrets they've seen. Complexion. His skin, though weathered by time, is still smooth with a pale alabaster hue, contrasting with the occasional sunspot or age mark. Personality traits. Lord Hawthorn is a figure of mystery and intrigue. He's known for his wisdom, foresight and deep understanding of the world's mysteries. While he is noble and just in his leadership, his demeanour is often contemplative, as if constantly pondering life's deeper questions. The loss of his beloved daughter and the subsequent curse on Hawthorn Hall weigh heavily on his heart, making him both protective and occasionally distant. Chapter 4. The Doors of Hawthorn. The morning sun cast golden hues across Willowville as Lucy and Eli approached the most imposing gates of Hawthorn Hall. The iron was so cold to the touch, and a slight wind made the trees whisper secrets of old. Their first step into the hall was met with silence. The grand entrance, adorned with tapestries depicting valiant knights and enchanted forests, felt both welcoming and foreboding. Eli spread the map on a large table near the entrance. The first room, marked with a symbol, is the Chamber of Echoes. Legend says your true intentions are reflected back at you there. Lucy felt a knot in her stomach but nodded. Holding a torch aloft, they ventured further. The Chamber of Echoes was bathed in a soft blue light. Mirrors of varying sizes adorned the walls. In the room's centre was a pedestal with a crystal orb. As Lucy approached, her reflection in one of the mirrors caught her eye. But instead of mirroring her current state, it showed a younger Lucy, laughing with her grandmother. Eli pointed to his reflection, where a younger version of him played with a dog. "That's Max! He was my best friend." Lucy whispered, "These aren't just mirrors, they're memories. Pure, heartfelt memories." Touching the crystal orb, a soft voice echoed, "Intentions pure, heart sincere, move forth without any fear." The map suddenly shone brighter, highlighting their next location, the Garden of Whispers. As they approached it, the scent of blooming roses and jasmine enveloped them. Here, the plants seemed to murmur, their leaves rustling, even without the wind. Eli picked up a fallen leaf, which had words etched onto it. "Trust the path you've undertaken." The garden's beauty was mesmerising, with flowers that seemed to glow in the moonlight and trees with silvery bark. At the centre was a fountain with crystal clear water, and at its base lay another etched leaf. To move forward, relive a memory you've forsaken. Lucy closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. A forgotten memory resurfaced of a day she had taken a shortcut through the woods to reach home early but got lost. Scared and alone, she had found solace in a similar clearing, where the sound of a distant stream had guided her back. Opening her eyes, she saw the fountain's water flow in a particular direction, revealing a hidden pathway. Following it, they reached the library, a vast room filled with books, scrolls and manuscripts. Eli's excitement was palpable. Every answer we seek might be in here. Indeed, the library held clues about the remaining rooms, the artifact, and the challenges they were yet to face. But as the sun dipped low below the horizon, they realized they needed rest. Using their jackets as makeshift blankets, they decided to spend the night in the library. As Lucy drifted into sleep, she felt a comforting presence, as if the very walls of Hawthorn Hall were watching over them, guiding their quest to safeguard its most precious secret. Eli was the first to wake up, the soft morning light streaming through the large stained glass windows of the library. Stretching out, he noticed a book that had seemingly fallen off a shelf overnight. The cover was embossed with the Hawthorn family crest, and the title read, "The Guardian's Chronicle." Curious, he began to leaf through the pages, his eyes widening with every line. As Lucy stirred awake, he shared his discovery. "This journal," he began, his voice tinged with awe, "was penned by Lord Hawthorn himself. It speaks of the artifact's origin." Lucy sat up, her curiosity piqued. "What does it say?" Eli read aloud. "The artifact is not of this world. It was discovered during one of my voyages on an uncharted island. Its power was evident, as the island flourished in ways unimaginable. But with power comes responsibility, and many sought to exploit it, leading to devastation." Lucy traced the faded pages with her finger. "So, Lord Hawthorn brought it here to protect it?" Eli nodded, continuing. "He hid it in the hall, using the knowledge from the island's natives. The rooms, the puzzles, they're all safeguards, ensuring that only someone with a pure heart and a thirst for knowledge can reach it." The two shared a silent moment, understanding the gravity of their quest. The artifact was more than just a piece of history, it was a symbol of responsibility. As they delved deeper into the journal, they discovered more about the rooms ahead. One was the Hall of Shadows, where the Seeker's deepest fears came alive. Another was the Chamber of Time, where time itself played tricks on the mind. Prepared with this newfound knowledge, they decided to tackle the Hall of Shadows first. Armed with their torches and determination, they stepped into a room where darkness seemed to swallow all the light. Whispers echoed around and shadows danced menacingly. Lucy felt her pulse quicken as she faced a shadowy version of herself, filled with all her doubts and insecurities. Beside her, Eli grappled with his shadow, which taunted him with past regrets. Drawing from the lessons in the Chamber of Echoes, Lucy closed her eyes and focused on her purest memories, her love for her town, and the desire to protect its legacy. As she did, her shadow began to waver, the whispers growing fainter. Eli, taking her lead, focused on his memories with Max, the joy and lessons from their bond. Slowly, his shadow too began to dissipate. When they emerged from the Hall of Shadows, they felt exhausted but triumphant. However, they knew their journey was far from over. Lucy clutched the journal tight. "One step at a time," she whispered. Eli nodded, his face resolute. "Together always." As they continued, the duo realised that Hawthorn Hall wasn't just a building. It was a testament to humanity's quest for knowledge, the balance of power, and the essence of pure intention. Their adventure had transformed from mere curiosity into a pilgrimage of understanding and guardianship. Chapter 5. The Guardian's Apprentice. The next chamber, bathed in a soft golden glow, was like any they had encountered before. Large celestial paintings decorated the walls, depicting the sun, moon and stars in intricate detail. At the centre of the room, beneath a grand crystal chandelier, stood an elderly woman with silver hair, dressed in robes that matched the room's ethereal ambience. Eli whispered, "Lucy." That's Miss Cordelia. Lucy nodded, recalling tales of the Hall's guardian, a figure of legend who was said to have served alongside Lord Hawthorn. As they approached, Miss Cordelia's voice, soft yet clear, echoed through the chamber. You've journeyed so far, young seekers. Your intentions have passed the Hall's initial tests, but there are deeper truths you must grasp before moving forward. She beckoned them closer, and with a wave of her hand, a celestial image projected onto the floor, showing the uncharted island mentioned in the journal. This, she began, is where Lord Hawthorn found the artifact. But he did not embark on that journey alone. I was his apprentice, chosen to understand and protect the artifact's secrets. Eli gaped in amazement. But that means you've been here for centuries. A gentle smile played on Miss Cordelia's lips. Time flows differently for those who guard the artifact. I was bound to the Hall, my life intertwined with its magic. But every guardian needs a successor. The Hall has waited long for worthy souls. Lucy's eyes widened. You mean? Miss Cordelia nodded. One of you has the potential to be the next guardian. But to decide who, you both must face the ultimate test. She gestured to 2 doors on either side of the room. Behind each door lies a challenge. Eli, your door will test your courage. Lucy, yours will test your wisdom. Success will determine not just your fate, but the fate of the artifact. As Lucy and Eli took hesitant steps towards their respective doors, Miss Cordelia's voice rang out one last time. Remember, the Hall recognizes heart and soul, not just actions. The doors loomed large, their challenge unknown. Both friends were resolute, understanding the weight of their choices ahead. With a shared glance, they pushed the doors open, stepping into their individual trials, each hoping their journey had prepared them for the challenges that lay ahead. Alright, some more character stats. This time, Miss Cordelia. Miss Cordelia appears to be in her late 60s, but her true age spans centuries due to her bond with Hawthorn. She's about 5'7", slender, with a regal posture that commands presence. Her movements are graceful, a dance between the ages. She has a deep shade of blue in her eyes that's reminiscent of the night sky, and they're filled with wisdom and stories of epochs gone by. They hold a twinkle that belies her age, showing a spirit still very much alive and curious. Her hair is a flowing silver that cascades down her mid-back, often tied up in a loose bun, with stray wisps framing her face. And intertwined with her hair are often tiny luminescent beads that glow softly, echoing the celestial theme of her chamber. Her face is delicate, with high cheekbones, a slightly pointed chin, and wrinkles that are not just signs of aging but wisdom. Her lips, always with a hint of a smile, are a pale pink. Chapter 6. Trials of the Heart and Soul. Lucy's door led her to a room bathed in a warm amber hue, with walls lined with countless books and scrolls, reminiscent of the vast library they had slept in. At the centre of the room stood a tall pedestal with an open book, its pages blank. A voice, gentle yet firm, echoed through the room. To prove your wisdom, Lucy, you must pen a tale, one that speaks of sacrifice, love, and the weight of choices. Lucy hesitated. How could she possibly craft such a tale on the spot? She thought back to her grandmother's stories, the lessons she'd learned from them, and the choices she'd made leading her to this point. Taking a deep breath, she began to write. Her tale spoke of a young girl in a village plagued by endless night. The girl, upon discovering that the village's continuous darkness was due to a stolen sun, embarks on a quest to retrieve it. Along the way, she encounters creatures of shadow and light, each offering her choices that would make her journey easier, but at a cost to her village. In the end, the girl retrieves the sun not through combat or trickery, but through understanding and sacrifice, restoring balance to her world. As Lucy penned the last word, the blank pages shimmered and absorbed her story, the room filling with a soft glow. Meanwhile, Eli's door opened to a vast, seemingly endless landscape. Mountains towered in the distance, and below him was a rickety rope bridge spanning a deep chasm. On the other side stood a young boy, who looked strikingly familiar. "Eli!" the boy called out, tears streaming down his face. "Help me!" Eli's heart raced. That boy was a younger version of himself, a memory from a day he'd tried to forget, a day he'd been paralysed by fear, unable to cross a similar bridge during a school trip, resulting in relentless teasing from his peers. Taking a deep breath, he stepped onto the bridge. With every step, memories flooded back, moments of doubt, fear, and regret. The wind howled, the bridge swayed, but Eli pressed on, his focus unwavering. As he reached the younger version of himself, he whispered, "It's okay to be afraid, but never let fear decide your future." Embracing his younger self, the vast landscape dissolved, leaving Eli in a serene meadow. The weight of his past fears lifted. Both Lucy and Eli emerged from their trials at the same time, greeted by the approving gaze of Miss Cordelia. "You have faced your challenges with grace and understanding," she said, her voice tinged with pride. "Now for the final test." The celestial chamber shifted, the floors and walls becoming transparent, revealing a mesmerizing view of the cosmos. Stars, galaxies, and nebula swirled all around them, and at the center, suspended in mid-air, was the artifact, a crystal emitting a soft, pulsating glow. To claim the artifact, Miss Cordelia instructed, you must reach it together. But be warned, the path is not just physical but emotional. Your bond will be tested. Taking each other's hands, Lucy and Eli stepped onto the ethereal bridge leading to the artifact, ready to face whatever challenges the hall had in store, side by side. Chapter 7. Melodies of the Past. The bridge beneath Lucy and Eli's feet radiated light, each step synchronized with the gentle pulsation of the artifact's glow. They felt as though they were journeying through an ethereal realm, surrounded by the vastness and wonder of the universe. Suddenly, the bridge splintered into multiple shimmering pathways. Visions of alternate realities materialized before them. Lucy saw herself leading Hawthorn, ensuring its legacy remained intact. Eli saw visions of adventures with Max, each more thrilling than the last. "These are the potential paths of your future," Miss Cordelia's voice resonated, filled with understanding. Choices shaped by either claiming the artifact or letting it remain untouched. The visions vanished, revealing two distinct platforms. One held a beautifully crafted music box and the other an ornate empty chest. As they drew nearer, the intricate details of the music box became evident. It was adorned with golden embellishments and encrusted with gemstones. An engraving on its side read, "To my beloved daughter, from Lord Hawthorn." "This," Miss Cordelia began, her voice tinged with a hint of nostalgia, "was a cherished gift from Lord Hawthorn to his daughter. Its melody holds the power to dispel the curse binding the guardian spirit to Hawthorn Hall." Lucy looked at the music box, realization dawning on her. "So, by playing it, we can free the guardian?" Miss Cordelia nodded. "Yes, but with freedom comes a choice. The guardian's role will need a successor. If you choose the chest and leave the music box, its melody will remain silent and the guardian bound. But your personal dreams, the paths you've witnessed, could be embraced. Eli's gaze wandered between the two. It's not just about our futures, but about honouring the past and fulfilling duty. Lucy, deep in thought, added, and ensuring the sacrifices and stories of those before us aren't in vain. Together they approached the music box. Hesitating only for a moment, Lucy delicately lifted the lid. The room filled with a hauntingly beautiful melody that seemed to breathe life into the hall itself. As the final note lingered, an ethereal mist formed around Miss Cordelia. She looked younger, freed from her ageless bond to the hall. "Thank you," she whispered, her form starting to dissipate. The hall's transformation was palpable. The weight of the ages lifted, replaced with a serene energy. Lucy and Eli, now the new custodians of both the artifact and the stories of Hawthorn, emerged from the hall, their bond deepened and their purpose clearer than ever. The music box's melody wasn't just a key to the past, but a bridge to the future. As the ethereal mist surrounding Miss Cordelia began to dissipate, she whispered, "You have shown courage and heart. But remember, the artifact is not just a tool. It's a piece of history carrying the essence of Hawthorn Hall. Guard it well." Eli carefully picked up the music box, its intricate designs gleaming in the ambient light. The weight of it felt reassuring in his hands. "We promise to keep its legacy alive," he vowed. Lucy nodded. "And we'll ensure its story is passed down for generations to come." Miss Cordelia's form, now barely visible, beamed with pride. "There is one more gift I leave with you." Suddenly, the room was bathed in a soft golden light. Floating before them were two pendants, each one carrying a miniature replica of the music box. These pendants will connect you both to the artifact and the hall. Whenever Hawthorn Hall requires your attention, they will resonate with the melody you just heard, she explained. Lucy reached out and clasped one around her neck, feeling an immediate bond. Eli did the same, a smile forming on his face. This way, we'll always be connected to Hawthorn, no matter where we are. The celestial chamber began to revert to its original form. The vast cosmos slowly receded, and the stone walls of Hawthorn Hall returned. As you embark on this journey, as the new guardians, always trust in one another. Unity is strength. Miss Cordelia's voice echoed for the last time, her form disappearing into the ether. Emerging from the hall, the world outside seemed different to Lucy and Eli, as if they were viewing it through a new lens. The town of Hawthorn, with its historical charm and mysteries, beckoned them to explore and protect. With the music box safely tucked in Eli's bag and their pendants glowing faintly, they began their descent towards the town, the early morning sun casting long shadows. Birds chirped, and the air was fresh with a promise of new beginnings. Being a guardian, Lucy mused, it's not just about protecting an artifact, it's about preserving stories, memories, and the very essence of Hawthorn. Eli nodded in agreement, and together we'll ensure that the tales of Hawthorn Hall never fade into oblivion. As they walked hand in hand, they realised that their adventure was just beginning. The tales of Hawthorn Hall were not just stories from the past, but guiding lights for the future, and with every step, they were writing a new chapter in its storied legacy. Chapter 7. The Guardian's Legacy. The streets of Hawthorn seemed livelier than Lucy and Eli remembered. Children played, laughter echoed, and the aroma of freshly baked bread wafted through the air. It felt as if the town itself had sensed the lifting of the age-old bond that had kept Hawthorn Hall's guardian tethered. As they approached the town square, they noticed a gathering around the old storyteller's bench. Max, with a mischievous glint in his eyes, was regaling a captivated audience with tales of the brave duo's adventure in Hawthorn Hall. The children listened with wide-eyed wonder, hanging on to every word. Lucy elbowed Eli playfully. "Seems like our adventure is already the stuff of legends." Eli chuckled. "All thanks to our town's resident storyteller." Max spotted them and waved them over. As they approached, the crowd erupted in applause. It seemed the tales of their bravery had spread like wildfire. Lucy, feeling a bit overwhelmed, addressed the gathering. "It's not just our story, it's the story of Hawthorn, of Miss Cordelia, and the generations before us. We've just played our part in its ever-evolving narrative." A little girl no older than 7 tugged at Eli's sleeve. "Is it true? Is the hall really filled with stars and galaxies?" Eli bent down to her level, his pendant gleaming. "It's even more magical than you can imagine, and maybe someday you'll experience its wonders too." Days turned into weeks, and the duo soon became accustomed to their roles as the guardians of Hawthorn Hall. They set up a small museum in one of the hall's chambers, showcasing artifacts and narrating the tales of the hall and its legacy. The town of Hawthorn thrived as people from neighbouring towns and cities visited, eager to hear about the legendary Hawthorn Hall and its guardians. Lucy and Eli also began hosting monthly gatherings at the hall. People shared stories, sang songs, and celebrated the rich tapestry of history that the hall represented. It was during one of these gatherings that Lucy unveiled a new addition to the hall's chambers, a mural depicting their adventure, with Miss Cordelia's spirit guiding them. Years went by, and as the seasons changed, so did the guardians. Lucy and Eli grew older, wiser, but their commitment to their duty never wavered. They trained young aspirants, ensuring that the legacy of the guardians would continue. One crisp autumn evening, as the sun cast a golden hue over Hawthorn, Lucy and Eli stood on the hall's balcony, overlooking the town they loved and had vowed to protect. "Do you ever wonder," Lucy began, "if we made the right choice that day?" Eli, looking at the bustling town below, replied, "Every time I see a child's eyes light up hearing our stories, or when I witness the town thriving, I'm reminded that we did." They stood in silence, the weight of years and memories surrounding them. The music box, now placed prominently in the hall's main chamber, played its hauntingly beautiful melody, a reminder of the past and a beacon for the future. And as the last rays of the sun kissed the horizon, the guardians of Hawthorn Hall, with hands entwined, looked ahead, their legacy forever etched in the annals of Hawthorn's history. Eli was about to head down when he noticed an envelope lying on the ground, seemingly untouched by the autumn wind. Picking it up, he noticed it was sealed with a wax emblem he didn't recognize, a serpent encircling a crystal. Lucy joined him, her brow furrowing as she examined the emblem. "I've never seen this symbol in any of our books or scrolls." Curiosity piqued, Eli carefully broke the seal and read aloud, "Guardians of Hawthorn Hall, while you've unraveled one legend, many more remain hidden in the shadows. The serpent's crystal awaits, lost in time, awaiting those worthy to uncover its mysteries. Your journey with the hall was but the first step. The world is vast and legends beckon. Yours in adventure, the keeper of secrets." The two exchanged a glance, a fire of anticipation in their eyes. "Seems like our days of adventuring aren't over," Lucy whispered, excitement evident in her voice. Eli grinned. and Hawthorn thought our story was done. In the distance, beyond the town and through the woods, a mountain's peak shimmered under the moonlight, hinting at the new challenges and adventures that awaited the Guardians. As the night deepened and the stars shone brilliantly, the music box began to play on its own, its notes more mysterious and inviting than ever before. The next chapter of their adventure was just beginning. Thank you for listening to The Haunting of Hawthorn Hall, created and read by me, Liam Lucian. I hope you enjoyed the story and I look forward to seeing you in the next story. Until then, stay ready for adventure.